Fastest car recorded is the Hennessy Venom. Hennessy Venom.
A modern podcast where Chris and Mike talk about TV, movies, superheroes, and everything in between. It's time for Superhero Slate.
Hello and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Dillard.
And my name's Mike Royer.
And this week, Benedict Cumberbatch is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
The Defenders are shaping up.
Okay.
And Deadpool 2 shakes things up. And more ups. Sure. Why not? I don't even care. So this week we are on the eve of Halloween.
Yeah, even though it seems like it's already been done. That's usually what happens when you have a Halloween that lands on, I would say, either a Sunday or a Monday, maybe even possibly like a Tuesday. All the festivities happen on the weekend. So we ran some errands this morning because we're working on our annual Christmas card that may or may not include some discounted Halloween decorations. So they were already discounted, and technically it's not even Halloween yet. So all the craft stores out there are like, nope, Halloween's officially done in our book. So I don't know if the Halloween candy is on sale yet. I think that's probably the official. That's probably the official moment when Halloween's over is when the candy goes on sale. Because you don't need the candy anymore. It's done.
That's true. What is your favorite Halloween candy, Mike? Just so I can get a gauge here.
I've always really enjoyed. I mean, it depends. Like, favorite candy is like a totally different question compared to favorite Halloween candy. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I was always a fan of anything that just seemed like you're getting more bang for your buck. So I always kind of liked Milk Duds because like it was like the only candy that came like packaged in like a box and you had to like open it. It was like opening like a little present. So I was a big fan of Milk Duds growing up.
Okay. All right. I'd say mine would be the little boxes of Nerds because
we're box people.
Yeah, because you feel like when you look at those Nerds, like, oh, that's small, there's not a lot. But by the time you start eating it, you're like, damn, there's a lot of Nerds in here.
Yeah, you're just basically like eating just straight sugar, and you're just like, oh god, it's so good. And then you get that cramping in your jaw when there's like too much sugar in there.
Oh yeah. Like I get that with Skittles. So I totally feel you. I hate chocolate, but I like Heath, like the little mini Heath bites occasionally.
Oh wow, okay.
I don't know why. I guess it's the old man in me coming out. So
well, that's good. You're prepared for your old age. With Halloween not technically over, but maybe spiritually over, we did some Halloween stuff this weekend. So before we get into the news, you were telling me about you did something kind of cool, and I want to hear about it.
Okay, yeah. So this weekend I was invited to one of my friends' murder mystery party, but it was Harry Potter themed murder mystery party.
Oh no, that sounds too awesome.
So the guy and his wife who held it at their house, they went all out on decorations. Like they had like this. It's not wallpaper, but it's like thin paper that you hang over your walls to make it look like castle brick. All over the upstairs. There was like Quidditch beer pong kind of thing going on.
Oh wow!
Outside, they used badminton rackets to throw stuff through, kind of deal. Mm-hmm. Lots of Harry Potter themes. The butterbeer was delicious. It was more like cream soda and like butterscotch schnapps. Lots of food, lots of great food, lots of candy, lots of great company, a lot of good people there. We played this game called Werewolf. It's a lot like a Halloween themed mafia game where you got to figure out who's killing people in the group. Yeah, kind of deal. And that led into the murder mystery, which I think one person got correct because they left out the forensic file on accident in the game.
Oh no!
So despite that, it was fun. It was great. And then I think we were there till like 3 a.m.
Wow! How did you survive the murder mystery? Did you end up getting killed, or what happened?
I was fine. I was a teacher, at the university, whatever Harry Potter ripoff name they had. So I lived. I was fine. But in the werewolf game, I was the first to be killed.
No!
But probably because I was spouting off a lot of bad jokes.
You earned it. You earned that death.
I did. And then again, our mutual friend, I don't think he listens to the show, but Victor Pan Fox was there. So yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I see him a lot actually, and we do the South Park thing. Have you watched South Park this season at all?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, so like he was set exactly across the longest table in the world for me, and I'm like, "Hey, Pan, do you remember this?" And he'd be like, "Yeah, I remember." And we just kept doing that all night. So,
I'm sure that's what led to your death.
Yeah, a lot of people just kept laughing at it. However, nobody was dressed up as a bad hombre or a nasty woman, so I was kind of disappointed.
Okay.
But moving on, you went somewhere else, more of a date scenario. It sounded like.
Well, yeah, we last night, my wife I was reluctantly dragged to some haunted houses, which
you switched that story real quick there.
Which I am a big old baby when it comes to haunted houses. So, haunted houses, I would say, is probably comparable to a roller coaster for me. Like, when you're waiting in line for the roller coaster, that's literally the scariest part. You know, the anticipation of like seeing all the people going down and screaming and going down the drops. That's the scariest part of haunted houses and roller coasters. So we were waiting in line at this one haunted house. It was kind of like a little downtown festival that had like this little haunted house going on. It was a really good value, only $5 to get in, so that ended up being kind of cool. But the really cool thing was we were driving back into the city, and we were just like, man, you know, that haunted house was cool, but it was really short, you know. And I was like all jazzed up now, my endorphins running, being scared and all. So we decided to check out, I would say, the coolest haunted house I had ever been to, and this is in Burbank, California. So obviously it might not be easy for most listeners to get to, but if you ever get a chance, this guy who is a VFX and I guess costume makeup artist puts on his own haunted house in his backyard every year. Ooh. And it's free, and it's just donations when you get done with it. And you think, if you know anything about the makeup of like Los Angeles, the Valley, or more specifically Burbank, is backyards are not very big. Like the footprint of your backyard might be about as big as the footprint of your house if you're lucky. So your backyards here are very, very small. So he was able to weave and use every single square inch of his backyard to perfection. So he had this winding path that went through his backyard. I think part of it came up through his porch, but it's really hard to tell because he had everything decorated. Like, this guy has to have some sort of like storage facility where he puts all this stuff every year, because he had a life-size Violator from Spawn out in his front yard that looked so cool, and you could see it like driving down this little neighborhood street, because that's the coolest part. Like, you're just driving down this very unassuming neighborhood street, and all of a sudden you see these people lined up, and you see this giant Violator and this dude's like one-story like house. It's so cool. So we got in line and like we walked through, and it was just really, really well crafted. He had like the highest quality decorations I've ever seen in a haunted house, and on top of that, it was like a science fiction themed haunted house. I'd never really seen that before. Like, I have gone like through maybe one room in a haunted house before that may have had like maybe some sort of alien thing in there, or creature, but this was like super cool. There's like areas where you're seeing like Cronenberg like type monsters like coming out of the wall. He had this weird kind of like crossover between like a sand person or sand people from Star Wars that was making this weird noises. And he had like these really lifelike masks of like rhinos and rats that he put on people. So the actors in his maze that are basically in his backyard were like supreme. It was so good. It was so awesome. And I felt bad that we didn't have any cash on us. So we're gonna look out and see if he has like a website out there, or we know his address now, so we might just mail him a check just because it was so cool. So I'm gonna put the link. It's like, it's so popular and it's so well known. I don't know how long he's been doing it, but it's so popular. He actually has like his own Yelp page for like his house. So I'm gonna put that up in the show notes. So I recommend you guys go check it out. It's so cool. Like, I just it's just the quality, and it's donation based, and you can just tell like the guy's just doing it because he loves it. He loves doing it, and it doesn't feel like, you know, some sort of like corporate, you know, event that's being thrown. So go check out. It's called the Backwoods Maze. We're gonna be going every year for sure. It's so awesome.
So now, how busy was this? I imagine, you know, being in someone's backyard and as popular as it sounded, Parking sounds like it could have been a nightmare. That could have been half the horror of it.
Well, it's actually really funny because, it's just on a normal, like, lined neighborhood street. You go one block over, the streets are totally empty. You go another block over, it's just like a normal street. And, like, if you go on Google Maps, you just look at this neighborhood, and all the streets are green on traffic, and then his one little strip is red just because there's so many cars over there. So, yeah, I mean, it's not that hard. You just find a parking spot on the street. And then you just like line up on the sidewalk, and it's just really cool. It just feels like you're just in store for just something like homemade and really cool. But yeah, I can't say enough about it. It was so impressive, and like I just couldn't not talk about it. So yeah, definitely go check out that link to the show notes.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It's in our show notes. Go check it out. And if you guys had any great Halloween costumes, maybe you got to dress up as a superhero, or you saw somebody else who did some that was awesome. No Harley Quinns, please. We're sure there's a billion of them out there.
Yeah, I saw enough of those at Comic-Con.
Yeah, if anyone else is dressed up, tag us on Twitter, Facebook, whatever. We wanna know what's going on. Mm-hmm. However, it's time for the news, and the scariest part of any news is spoiler alerts, Mike.
Yeah.
So this week we are 4 sleeps away from Doctor Strange.
4 sleeps. Doctor Strange definitely snuck up on me. I don't know about you.
No, it's my phone lock screen. I've been looking at him every day for a couple of months now.
Okay.
I'm definitely excited. It's now out in international markets. The end credit scenes are leaking on Reddit and everywhere. People are putting the mid credit scenes online. They're talking about it. They're discussing it. People don't know what they saw. They want to know more. The common moviegoer doesn't know things that we might know. But don't click the links if you don't want to know anything.
Yeah, just you only got a couple more days. You guys can manage it.
Yes, that's right. Go read a book, a comic book even. I don't care. But Doctor Strange is coming. I've got tickets for Thursday at 7. Mike, when is your showing?
Thursday at 7 as well, but West Coast time. So you'll be out of yours by the time I'm stepping into mine. But
that's great that. You don't normally go at 7 on Thursdays, do you?
It usually depends. We usually try to go on Thursdays. For big Marvel releases, we're usually there on Thursdays. If it's a DC release that I'm looking forward to, I'll definitely go on Thursdays. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm all ready. It's been kind of nice because, the Halloween, the seasons, all the other stuff I got going on right now kind of distracted me. So I realized maybe at some point last week, I was like, oh man, Doctor Strange is next week. So I'm really looking forward to talking about it
next week, which is our spoiler cast, which is our next point on this. We will have our spoiler cast next week. I'm really excited to talk about it. Doctor Strange is one of the few books I pick up monthly right now. It's got a monthly series. So on and so forth. So if you guys have any questions on Doctor Strange, feel free to reach out to us, next week after you watch it, or maybe me more so than Mike. I don't know how much Doctor Strange Mike knows offhand. So, but he does know.
I got Google. I theoretically.
I was going to say,
everything.
But he does know how to Google really well. So there's that. The director Scott Derrickson is already talking sequel ideas. He's not signed on. There's nothing confirmed. It's just, there's press junkets this whole first couple of weeks. So
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, we kind of had similar talk with. Oh man, I already forgot his name. Who directed Ant-Man? Yeah. I mean, he was already kind of talking about sequel ideas when he was out on press for Ant-Man 1. Yeah. So, I mean, I think most of the time these directors get a second at bat when it comes.
Yeah,
to
yeah, exactly, and especially if it's received well. Which I haven't looked at Rotten Tomatoes, and I plan on staying dry on that as much as I can.
Yeah. Another thing you guys need to be careful of is, even if you want to avoid reviews but still want to buy your tickets, sometimes it can even be hard to do that because Fandango thinks it's being nice and it tries to put reviews next to the movie before you buy the tickets and stuff like that, and that really bugs me. So it's just what I do is I bookmark the theater that I usually go to, so I just go directly to the movie theater's website. I don't go through any third party Fandango or anything. So yeah, good luck. It's a hard world out there. You want to get those tickets as soon as possible.
Yeah, or you can go directly to the theater and buy them as well and save yourself some service costs if that's an option. But back to if there's an article on the director talking sequel ideas, chances are he's probably ruining something of the movie in there that has already been revealed. So avoid those as well if you want to stay clean.
Okay.
that's one thing. Something cool, however, is the Sanctum Sanctorum is on Google Maps.
Oh, so you can kind of do like a street view inside of it?
Yes. So you can actually like go see what the Sanctorum looks like on Google Maps. I think it's in New York. Maybe.
Well, that kind of makes sense.
I mean, it is in the movie at least, and it's part of it. Yeah, it's not showing me right now doing a quick search, but it is on there. I did see it earlier this week.
All right. We'll take your word for it, Chris.
And then, however, with the movie being out in international markets, it's actually opening above Ant-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy already.
Well, I think that makes sense because you got the strength of Benedict Cumberbatch behind it mainly. I mean, with Ant-Man, you had a very obscure character. I mean, even though you had Paul Rudd, who was known, you still have the people trying to grasp what an Ant-Man is. Guardians of the Galaxy, that's a little different because you did have Chris Pratt on there. He wasn't a huge megastar then yet, but yeah, I think it makes sense. Benedict Cumberbatch, you gotta respect the batch. Yeah. He can definitely get people's eyes.
Yeah, so sure. I mean that's good. I mean it's opening. Everyone was estimating it lower than it actually came out with. So that's good news for the movie. I think. I don't think we're looking at Civil War numbers here, but I think we're gonna get some good stuff off of this movie. So 4 Sleeps, I'm looking forward to it. Speaking of Guardians of the Galaxy, do you remember Stan Lee's cameo in there?
Yeah, he was some sort of a pimp with alien ladies on his hands.
Well, come to find out, Guardians of the Galaxy in Volume 2, director James Gunn directed the 4 cameos of Stan Lee in one day. And he fed him a lot of lines, and he did direct the one that's included in Doctor Strange. And
cool.
So the director didn't know Scott Derrickson did not know what lines he would have of Stan Lee because I guess kind of improvised a bunch of lines on set, like just feeding him lines, saying over and over, which I've already seen the Doctor Strange Stan Lee cameo in the 50-minute preview, but they actually used the last take, he said, of what they got in there.
Well, if it makes me wonder if it was 4 different cameos, that means it's for 4 different movies. Yes. They're getting 4 out of the way, right? So it makes me wonder if they just take them into a green screen room because, how do you possibly get like 4 different sets? I mean, I guess they might know ahead of time, but it might make more sense to put them. They do.
So a lot of it there is green screen involved, but like he's still in a physical location. An unrelated example would be Guardians of the Galaxy. They would have to know that he had the bar there, like for that railing. So they would just have the railing and green screen the sky and stuff in behind him. So but that's cool. James Gunn, great guy. I like following him on Facebook. Probably one of the most outspoken, honest down to earth directors in the Marvel stables right now.
Yeah, he definitely likes connecting with his fans, which is awesome, which I like when directors do that. I always like it when I feel like some sort of very famous creator has like a personal approach to social media, because we get that. I get it that The Rock has like 36 million followers on Instagram, but I never believe that he's actually the one like typing the stuff below his photo or anything like that. He's got a social media manager that does all of that tries to write in his voice, which I think is kind of hilarious that they have to think, well, how would The Rock say this? But yeah, I feel like James Gunn, he's definitely
and he does a lot of live videos too, so if you ever like want to see him and hear what he talks about, you can watch the live videos, which is really cool.
Rad.
Next year, about a year from now, we will be watching and waiting excitedly for Thor Ragnarok. We got our first behind-the-scenes image of Valkyrie. You can see her there with the black hair and the blue cape and the black outfit. She's got some war paint on her face we can't see from here. There's some other images. I just grabbed one I could see. So it does look true to the Valkyrie's suit. She has a teal blue cape like that, or a darker blue cape with the black outfit. And the war paint I might tie into the movie somehow. I don't know, but it's definitely cool to see her. I'm really looking forward to some official images and a teaser.
Yeah, this is the furthest from an official image I think I could ever think. This dude's probably like a mile away with like a $20,000 lens to zoom in on like all this set garbage to get like a picture of Valkyrie like through like these beams and stuff.
My favorite is you can see like the heat waves in the background distorting the background of the image because it is hot out there where they're filming. I think it's Australia, so That's cool to see Valkyrie. Again, looking for something more official. We'll probably get some, at least at the latest by San Diego Comic-Con, if not sooner. My theory is, again, with Guardians of the Galaxy or Spider-Man, we'll get it.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of images and, footage, we did get that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 teaser trailer. And we know I always say I'm totally wrong when it comes to when trailers come out. So I'm going to, like George Costanza it and assume where I'm wrong, I'm right. Because I said there's no way they'd drop the trailer in front of the same week as Doctor Strange, because that would take away from the wonderment and news of Doctor Strange. But I think they're going to do that anyway, because it's what I don't think. So maybe we'll be talking about a Guardians trailer.
So I'm going to actually take the other stance on this. We're actually flip-flopping on this, because I don't think it would take away from Doctor Strange. I think more people are like, oh, I want to go see the Thor trailer, I'm going to go to Doctor Strange. But at the same time, if they were going to include Doctor Strange, they would have done it internationally and not wait for the American release.
Maybe they're going to give the Americans a little something, since we have to wait a whole week for all this other stuff.
Well, we'll keep an eye out for it, that's for sure. Because if anything, I'm excited to see that. But we got one more image from Thor, and that is Chris Hemsworth in his upcoming Thor kind of outfit for this movie. What I find interesting is only one of his shoulder pads has the red cape on it. I don't know if that's like a reference point for the CG cape. On his little buttons there, and that lines up with a lot of the artwork that's happened in the past 4 to 5 years of Thor. So this suit very lines up with a modern take on the Thor before he lost it to, I guess, Lady Thor in the comic books.
Yeah. I mean, I've said this before, but I always like how the costumes always get a variation change in every movie. So I like how they can find ways to mix it up. So it looks pretty cool. From what I
definitely on board with it, and then the director Taika Waititi there. So cool deal. Black Panther moving up. We are coming up on a year away this February from it. I can't believe that. That feels so awesome. The working title for Black Panther is called Motherland.
Oh, that makes sense.
Wakanda is the motherland of the Black Panthers, but also it could be a subtle reference to the Winter Soldier, being that he's all frozen up there in the Black Panther land.
Yeah, possibly. I wonder if Black Panther is going to go outside of Wakanda at any point in time. I mean, I would be totally fine if the movie was totally set in Wakanda for, the whole 2 hours that we get it. But it seems like if they're gonna have a Black Panther movie, you might as well stick.
That's right now. The rumors for the movie are that it's in there that there's an uprising in his country, and he has to deal with the uprising of like another tribe and warrior trying to take his place. So I agree with you. I think it will. So we'll that. It also starts filming in January 2017 in Atlanta. So.
Oh, Atlanta! What you get every movie?
All those Georgia tax breaks on those movies, man. And I think there's a Marvel Pinewood. I think it's Pinewood Studios in Atlanta. Marvel or / Disney have a studio there in.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they got. I think every major studio has something in Georgia. I was actually really curious one day, and I looked up like the tax break credits in Georgia, and they are by far. They give out the best tax credits, and there's not a whole lot of hoops you have to jump through to get them. Like even out here in LA, they're trying to bring back the tax credits to kind of compete to bring production back to kind of where Hollywood is. And even then, there's kind of a lottery system in order to get them. I think over as the years expand, that lottery system gets easier to get into. But yeah, Georgia, they know what they're doing. If they want an industry there, you got to give them those tax credits.
It is Pinewood, Atlanta, because there's a Pinewood in England as well. So. Marvel has filmed, I think, all their movies like as soon as one ends, the next one starts filming there, and I believe Infinity War, it will be filming at Pinewood at the same time as Black Panther. So, who knows what's going to happen with that? Having those two movies filmed back to back there. So I expect hopefully a lot of scene snaps from that. So we'll cross our fingers. The Punisher series on Marvel's moving right along. We had our first look at Amber Rose Riva as Dinah Madani. I don't know how to say her name. We haven't watched it yet. But she's a Homeland Security agent there. So she's taking like a lead role. Looks like someone's investigating the Punisher and what he's doing. So as is tradition, the government wants the Punisher. And
Yeah, well, I mean, he puts out a lot of collateral damage, so that makes sense that Homeland Security might be involved.
Yeah, so who knows? I mean, it seems generic, but I'm sure it'll be great whenever we get there. Also, this week, Marvel has announced 5 more actors joining the Punisher. I've linked it in the notes. None of the names really stick out to me, to be honest with you.
Well, he's probably going to be killing a lot of people, so they got to add a lot of people.
So, there's a young veteran, a friend of Frank Castle's, who only Frank knows he's alive, a CIA operative, the wife of the actor Micro, and another Homeland agent. So, who knows? Like, none of these names or actors stood out to me, so I was like, I'll include it, but is it going to change my life? No. No, it's not.
I don't know. Bring it on,
That's
Netflix.
right.
We're ready.
However, Netflix has got a big piece of news for Mike this week. And I think whenever I read this, I shared it with Mike first thing. And I'm like, Mike, what do you feel? And I think you're probably the most excited. With the Defenders, they have confirmed it for 8 episodes for the series.
Yes. And this is awesome for 2 reasons. First of all, we get an answer that this isn't just going to be some sort of quick, Netflix movie type deal. We kind of theorize, it could either be like a legit like movie runtime, or maybe it could be like a 4-part miniseries. Because I would say that's kind of typical in the television land for, if you say the word miniseries, you're looking at maybe around 4 episodes. But, I was saying, hey, Stranger Things killed it with the 8 episode number. That was like the perfect amount of time to tell a story with no downtime, no filler episodes. So I was like, man, I hope the Defenders gets 8 episodes, and then you tell me 8, and I couldn't be happier. I think that's the perfect thing they can do. And if we're lucky enough that the Defenders gets kind of the same budget along the lines, or even more for the Defenders than all the other shows did, that means they get to condense a lot more to action pieces that they don't have to spread out too much. So yeah, this is awesome news. This is so great.
I think 8's perfect. I think 13 is too long still. 10 is my ideal for a regular series. 8 for the Defenders, perfect. Like, voila.
Yeah, and I mean, with the Defenders series, we're not really going to have to chew on any of the actors' backstories or scenes. There will be character development, just because every story has character development, but we're not going to have to go through any crazy emotional arcs. This is just going to be awesome, fun action trying to save New York City and save the world. So we don't need all that time to get really intimate. We're just going to see some awesome. Yeah,
hopefully no flashback episodes. Like, those really stall you quite a bit in the run. We also have news that S.J. Clarkson, who has previously directed episodes of Jessica Jones, the show Vinyl and Orange is the New Black, will helm the first 2 episodes.
That's awesome.
Yes, so she...
That's a good
she
pedigree.
is taking the first 2, so that's a quarter of the episodes already ready to roll with directors. I don't know. Again, I forget who the showrunner is on the Defenders. I believe it's the people from Daredevil season 2.
I think so.
And Sigourney Weaver is the supposed villain, but I mean, this is cool. I'm glad they're ready. They're ready to work on it. It sounds like they could start filming within by next year, early next year.
Yeah, this is shaping up to be awesome. So, so Defenders, maybe. I'm curious if it's either going to be summer or fall.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, next year, we're ready for it. Ready for it. The synopsis was also updated with all this announcement, saying it's now the story of 4 solitary figures burdened with their own personal challenges who realize they might just be stronger when teamed together.
Yeah.
So awesome. It sounds like... my guess is maybe the first 2 episodes is going to be everybody finding each other and not getting along right away. So, but who knows? I don't know. We still have to go through a whole series with Iron Fist, and then who knows when the Punisher will arrive. On top of that, so we have so much unknown, but it's so good. Like, this is such good things to look forward to. I feel.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have a Stick, and he'll be able to knock some sense into these guys.
Like, maybe the Stick, maybe the other people. I think it was the Shafe or Smoke something. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
Something.
Stone,
it was
whatever.
one of those names. They all use them. Whatever. But now I've got some more good news for you, Mike, at the expense of some bad news, whichever way you want to take this. The Incredibles 2 has moved up a year. We are now getting it sooner than later.
All right. That makes
good.
That makes me
we
happy.
need a good Fantastic Four movie, and The Incredibles 2 is just what we need. So that will be June 15th, 2018. 2018 is shaped up to be a big year. Big year for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
However, it will be swapped with another movie that's on that date. This may sound familiar. Toy Story 2 Toy Story 4 is going back a year to June 2019.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I mean, I'm not saying that there's not a good Toy Story 4 movie that could be made. Just we have such a perfect trilogy already. Why can't we just let Toy Story lie and just rest in peace? But I mean, if it gets delayed a year, maybe there's a chance that it'll just be totally taken off the plate for Pixar in general. So
yeah, I mean,
see.
Toy Story 4 to me, I mean, if Pixar wants to continue the Toy Story franchise, I think a reboot would be necessary, or maybe a whole new, like the 4 is all new characters, because the toys kids have today compared to the toys kids had 20 years ago when the first movie came out, two entirely different things.
Yeah, it would be kind of weird because I think, Woody and Buzz are, they're really the heart of Toy Story. So if you make a new Toy Story movie and you put brand new toys in it, I think they have to be in the movie somehow, but maybe they're just kind of like cameo appearances that like pop up later in like the third act or something. I don't know. We just it's a movie we just don't need. Like Pixar has so much talent over there, I guess, maybe except for The Good Dinosaur and the Cars franchise, but I like it when they do new originals.
Yeah, and actually have a point on what they want to say with the films as well, like being kind of relevant and timely. And I feel pushing back Toy Story 4 to 2019, I can't imagine what kind of cool things we're going to have in 2019 to do. I mean, we can't even predict the next iPhone, let alone toys.
VR Toy Story. Make me Toy Story in VR. Yeah, maybe I'll enjoy it.
Could be. Well, we'll keep you posted. By that time, we will have actually witnessed and watched Star Wars Episode 8. Mike, can you believe that?
Oh, yes. That's hard to believe.
We're actually coming up on a month away from Rogue One, so Episode 8's a year away, and that's even more crazy. But Daisy Ridley went on to talk some this week that says Jyn Erso is not her character's relative.
Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. It might have been a little bit too easy, because like I've said before, I just want her parents just to be some randos. I mean, yeah, I guess they could be maybe paired into the Empire or maybe the Rebels somehow, but like just make her just a girl that just happens to find her destiny. So I'm okay with her not being
and this came up because a lot of people were like, oh, they're doing Rogue One because it has to tie into the other Star Wars movies, the current releases somehow. And to me that seems a little silly, because how is the Han Solo movie going to tie into this later?
Yeah, I just want these Star Wars story movies just to be a fun time. It's like one of the few times you've ever been able to take, a giant franchise and just adapt it to make a fun movie, It's almost like a franchise-less movie, we don't have to necessarily worry about a sequel for Jen. It's just going to be a fun movie.
Exactly. And if it does well, I mean, they can probably do a Rogue 2 movie and maybe steal the plans to the second Death Star. I don't know, but something that. But we don't have to wait too long and worry too much, Mike, because her parents will be revealed in Episode 8.
Good. Reveal the parents and make sure they're not fucking Luke, and I'll be just.
I don't think it is. I'm leaning more towards an Obi-Wan parentage. Like, I think that would be interesting.
Yeah, like I've stated before, I think that's going to be the only lineage that's related to the original trilogy that I'll be okay with. I'll be okay if it's Obi-Wan, because he's dead and gone, so we don't really have to worry about some sort of weird like reunion or something like that. So if it has to be, I'd rather it not, but if it has to be,
and it also makes sense thematically, as Obi-Wan like trained Anakin and Luke, and then Luke has to come back and train his heir kind of thing. It makes sense in terms of how Star Wars likes to be epic and have points to other things. So parallels. Oh well, we're excited for Star Wars Episode 8. Don't get us wrong. Another movie I'm still excited for, despite what other people may say, is Deadpool 2. I don't think losing Tim Miller is going to hurt this movie whatsoever. However, some news has come out this week that Tim Miller wanted to spend 3 times the budget of the first one on this sequel.
Ooh, so I wonder if that was the discrepancy that Ryan Reynolds had with Tim Miller. You know, they were kind of there was rumors what it could possibly be. Maybe the casting of Cable, maybe something else. But I don't know. This is actually something I heard a lot where people were saying Deadpool did great because they had to get creative and outside of the box with their smaller budget. You know, that was the whole reason why he left his bag of guns in that taxi, I believe, is because they didn't have the budget to do the giant action scene with all those guns and rockets and that stuff. And that ended up just being a hilarious moment in the movie. So I want more stuff like that. So maybe Ryan Reynolds was just like, no, we're not going to bloat this movie with all this money and all just CG. We're going to make a sequel. We're going to make like a successor that we deserve. So hopefully that's actually what's going on.
I did look into this a little bit, and it's not just Ryan Reynolds. The writers as well agree with this. The writers, I think it's Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, I think, are the writers. And Ryan Reynolds, they want to keep that low budget, creative, grungy, not like stylized feel. Like, this is true to Deadpool. We need to keep this Deadpool. And Tim Miller wanted to do a typical run-of-the-mill superhero film like we see all the time.
Yeah, I mean, Tim, it's great if you want to take on the challenge of a larger budget, because that's definitely something a director needs to be good at. So yeah, I think just hire him for like a bigger movie. Yeah. I mean, if he's over at Fox has big, giant blockbuster movies all the time. Just put Tim on something else. He did a great job with Deadpool 1. If he wants a bigger budget, just try out.
Put him on a video game adaptation. Like that'll work.
Yeah, and I mean, it's one of those things where I'm sure they're not worried about the budget, because I'm sure like Ryan is sharing is doing like a profit sharing with the box office of the movie. So he's just like, yeah, let's just do this thing cheap and it'll be just as good and we'll make more money. So I hope that's what's going on. I mean, I'm not trying to put words in anybody's mouth, but I'm putting my faith in Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, me too. However, a new director has already been rumored / reported. I don't know how to do it. Semi-confirmed is David Leitch. I don't know. David L. He is known for his work on a lot of movies. He was a co-director of John Wick. He's done a lot of stunt work and action scene choreography for the following movies: Civil War, The Wolverine, Jurassic World, Matrix, Blade, Fight Club. His list goes on and on. His pedigree.
I think I see where this is going. I mean, we didn't get a chance to talk about the trailer for John Wick 2. So, I mean, I don't know if people know, but like that, I am a big fan of that franchise. So it's kind of one of those movies where you don't let the story kind of get in the way of just like your main character just being a badass. So, if he's going to step up to the plate, I think Deadpool 2 would be a good way to do it. I want some kick-ass action scenes. I want Ryan Reynolds being a smartass and pissing people off. So this sounds like a
I agree.
plan.
And I totally think with this pedigree he has, and he's working within a smaller budget. Like, I mean, Tim Miller did video game cutscenes before he became the director of Deadpool. Deadpool was his first feature-length film. The same way with this guy. He co-directed John Wick, so he's half-directed a feature-length film. And this would be a great chance to let him do his own thing and move on. He, however, was the frontrunner for the upcoming X-Force movie that we've reported several times. So,
all right. So, yeah, he's Fox is definitely circling this guy.
They like what he can do, and they're ready to put him to work one way or the other. The backups for this, just in case David doesn't go through, is Drew Goddard, of course. Drew Goddard has been attached to every superhero franchise thing that does not have a director. He was on Sinister Six for Spider-Man franchise. He did Daredevil Season 1 for a couple episodes. I think he's on Pacific Rim 2 now. And
I mean, I love Goddard, so that
we do, but I think he's taken a Del Toro approach where he's like attached to everything, but I actually need to see him do something.
I just want people to know that I'm busy.
Pretty much. And then the other guy is Magnus Martins, who did some Luke Cage episodes. So cool. They're definitely scoping. They want to get this thing in production because after Wolverine 3 or Logan, they don't have any announced X-Men movie other than a Deadpool sequel, and we don't know when that's going to arrive.
Yeah, maybe Fox is just going to turn into the Deadpool studio.
Yeah, again, despite facts that people and as they're saying everything, I think Fox and Marvel are teaming up for something, and we don't know what it is yet.
Ooh, don't get me excited, Chris. Don't get me excited and let me down.
I may not, but I mean, the fact they have not announced the next X-Men movie is a little interesting because they usually announce the next one or the end credit scene tease the next big X-Men movie. Deadpool can fit in anywhere. He doesn't have to worry about making sense because he's silly.
Man, could you only imagine the position that Fox would be in if Deadpool didn't go well, or if they just didn't make Deadpool at all? I mean, they'd have nothing of credit over there now. So they're lucky. They should be sucking Ryan Reynolds'
Well,
dick.
that's one way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just being vulgar because Deadpool brings it out of you.
Apparently so. And then Fox and Marvel also working on TV shows together right now. So, there's a lot going on here, and I feel a Sony similar team up is going to happen. And with Inhumans off the table, despite as frustrating as that makes me, that leaves room for mutants to pop up in Phase 4.
Ooh, that would be the best way to do it.
I'm going to remain hopeful. People can tell me otherwise, but a lot of signs are pointing towards the X-Men and Marvel coming together. So we'll cross our fingers. Supergirl, have you watched it yet, Mike? This season?
I have not watched it yet. I'm just gonna wait for that crossover.
Yeah,
to be honest.
I was talking about that last night, and that's the same with me. Like, we need the 4-episode crossover, and then we'll be good to go. But Miss Martian is making her appearance finally in Supergirl. Did you watch Teen Titans?
I have. I've seen the Teen Titans, and
Young Justice is the one I was thinking of. Yeah, there we go. So she's in Young Justice. There she is. Looks really kind of weird because she doesn't have her red hair like she does in the books or the show. But, I mean, CW effects, sure, why not? I guess.
Yeah. Hey, you got to show off that brain, man.
Yeah, so she's now being in the CW show, so at least, CW is trying to keep things going and keep things interesting. Like I said, if I was ever to watch Supergirl, it would be because of Martian Manhunter and that kind of aspect of it, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Suicide Squad. Are you ready for that, Mike? You ready to get some more Suicide Squad on?
Man, we have Suicide Squad.
All right. Well, the extended cut, we know how long it's going to be. It adds 11 minutes to the movie instead of...
Wow, don't care.
Yeah, so this harkens back to the mid-2000s extended cuts or director's cuts that used to come out on DVDs. Like, when you get the menu at the beginning, do you want to watch the theatrical cut or the extended unrated cut? And I'm like, 11 minutes, like... I don't know. Like, that's weird. But both versions will be included on the 4K release, I saw. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, like, these 11 minutes or these added scenes, they're never like action scenes or fight scenes or anything cool. It's always just some sort of stuff that, like, oh, it makes sense that didn't make it into the movie. So, I don't know. We talked about this before. We don't.
Now,
care,
would you care now if 5 of those or 6 of those 11 minutes are Joker scenes? Would you want to watch them to see what those were?
I would watch them on YouTube out of curiosity, but after giving money to see that extended cut for Batman vs Superman, I just can't give them any more money for these extended releases anymore. How about you make a movie that I like that comes out in theaters first, and then maybe I'll consider it.
Mike got burned a little bit.
Like,
is what it sounds like.
Yeah, I got burned.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Mike. Well, I don't think I'm going to rewatch Suicide Squad, but if anyone else does get it and watch those, let us know what you think of those extra 11 minutes. Or if not, we'll find them on YouTube or somewhere. Somewhere on the internet, we will find those exact scenes and watch them completely out of context. Aquaman is a movie that's still being made, as far as we know, and we saw the first look at Mara a couple weeks ago in one of our shows, and I've got some reports from the director that Aquaman and Mara don't start off together or working well together in the beginning of this movie.
All right, they're gonna face some relationship issues. There's gonna be some struggle there. I mean, I get that.
It sounds like every movie that's ever happened when you have a guy and a girl character, and they're like, "I'm a strong, independent woman. I don't need a man," and the guy's like, "I don't need your help. You're a woman." and then they end up working together and saving each other and falling for each other later on. Like, it's standard movie trope right here, but they just happen to be sea people at this point. So, not really too surprised on that one. Another big point of this week, and it's a very small note here actually, but I think it's a big point, is Justice League Dark has a new title called Dark Universe. And the director, Doug Liman, who was previously attached to Gambit before it was kind of taken off the table, says he will turn the comic book genre on its head with his Dark Universe movie.
Okay, I mean, I'm looking forward to that. I mean, I think that's a lot of talking. Let's see the walking, Doug. But I think it's cool that this Justice League Dark or Dark Universe is kind of back on the table. I mean, I like living in a world where the Gambit movie goes away, but then we get a Justice League Dark movie. I think that's a good trade.
Yeah. So the only thing, like, I'm not worried about it, but like in this quote as well, he's like, Doug Liman, he says, I get asked to come in and do things that are unconventional. If people want conventional, they don't come to me. I'm like, okay, dude. Like, the more you tell me you're unconventional, the more I'm not going to believe you. But he did do Edge of Tomorrow, which I know you enjoy that. We were talking about that earlier this week, right?
Yeah.
And that's actually a comic book movie, or it's based on the graphic novel called All You Need Is Kill. So, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen, but the Dark Universe is moving up, or moving down the pipeline, I guess. So we'll keep an eye out for that. Characters we can look forward to are, Swamp Thing, John Constantine, and I believe, what was the other one there? Zatanna and stuff like that. So we'll keep you posted as more Dark Universe news pops up along the way.
Yeah. The
Walking Dead season 6 premiere.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I'm just laughing already just because there's so many people that have opinions on Walking Dead.
Yes, I don't care about The Walking Dead. I haven't watched it, and since the middle of season 3 I stopped and have not gone back.
At least you're consistent.
So I've not picked it back up. I see stuff online. I read some of like the reviews occasionally, just so in case someone asks me like, why don't you watch it? I'm like, this is why I don't watch it. Did you catch up on the season 6 premiere? Okay.
Oh yeah, for sure. I knew this was going to be a big premiere, and I was going to need to watch this as soon as possible because I was very busy last Sunday. But we made time because when a big show, like when the biggest hour-long drama on TV premieres, and they're coming off of a cliffhanger season finale last season, you got to watch that right away because I mean we're not going to spoil anything for anybody out there. I mean, but you gotta get on that stuff quick. I mean, if it's in the middle of the season and people are spoiling stuff for you, that's kind of shitty. But a season premiere, you got to get on that right away. You just got to protect yourself.
Game of Thrones and Walking Dead are almost a 0-hour spoiler thing. Like if you don't watch it live, you should not be on the internet or texting people or doing anything really where you're connected other than watch that, because people will tell you what happens. There will be spoiler-filled headlines. You can draw connections pretty easily from some stuff, even though they tried to be spoiler-free. I just want to know. I know it ended on a cliffhanger last season with someone appearing to get murdered in the middle of the cliffhanger. Mm-hmm. How long did it take the new episode to pick up to that point? Right away, or was it more halfway through the episode?
Well, they did I won't spoil anything, but they did a little bit of a red herring, I would say, in the first act of who dies, and then they kind of go all out and they reveal everything about halfway through the episode. So you don't have to wait until the very last bit of the episode to kind of get your conclusion, but it's a very intense episode. I thought it was a great hour of television, and I'm actually really surprised that I seem to be on the other side of the fence with this episode. People seem to really be dogging on it. I don't know if it's a combination of they watch a character that they really liked die, or if it's a combination of they're just tired of putting up with The Walking Dead, or I really don't know what it is, but me and my wife sat down and had a great time watching the episode. So I don't understand what's up people's butt. People were upset that the last episode of the last season ended on a cliffhanger. Like, a television show has never done that before, ever in existence of TV, which was just ridiculous. People were up in arms about that. And then watching this payoff, I mean, it was intense. I mean, there was some great acting in this. So, I mean, I don't usually check reviews for television shows because I don't really like reviews in general for TV or music. Movies are a little bit more structured, a little bit easier to review, but yeah, there's some people out there that were giving it like a C-, and I was like, I think, if you're tired of The Walking Dead, you stopped watching it a while ago. If you still watch the season premiere, you obviously are still going to be watching it the entire season. So I don't know what you're complaining about, but I thought it was a great premiere. So, they're making me happy. Thank you, Robert Kirkman. Thank you, everybody else that makes it. I'm sure they get a lot of hate out there on the internet, but I love it. Okay,
yeah. I mean, I don't know too much about it. Robert Kirkman was on Movie Fights last week, I believe, or at least 2 weeks ago.
He was on a lot of stuff. I listened to a couple different podcasts and, like, I guess internet exclusive content that he went ahead and did press for. So I thought that was really cool on Robert Kirkman's side of things. So he's a funny dude. He's a funny dude when he's kind of ad-libbing just around.
Yeah. I think he didn't win Movie Fights, but he did good in it. So I think it's a good time. Yeah. So Walking Dead. If you guys watch it, good. If not, oh well. I just want to talk to Mike about it because, TV shows like this are a lot like movies. Like, we talk about Doctor Strange. It's out. People are talking about it. You're going to see stuff. It's hard to avoid it unless there's like a universal release. And when it comes to TV shows, there's usually a time zone gap that you have to
listen to the Superhero Slate podcast to get your universal release. Right. I don't know how I feel about that tagline.
We release all at once, so no matter where you are, you're gonna hear our show.
Oh yeah, you're gonna
at
hear
least on
our
iTunes. I don't know. Everywhere else is kind of up in the air at this point. Alien Covenant, Mike's second favorite franchise in the world. Got some news from Michael Fassbender. He said that the new aliens in this film are called neomorphs rather than xenomorphs, and the rumor is that the robot David has been experimenting on the aliens when he landed on the creator's homeworld. And one of there's some photos here of a I don't know if this is David's workshop or like the workshop where they make all these props and stuff, but showing like this really deformed looking alien.
Yeah, it kind of looks a little bit like maybe a xenomorph mixed with those Prometheus characters that we saw walking around. I don't know if they ever got a name in Prometheus, but those big pale guys that were like 10 foot tall or whatever. It kind of looks like a cross between them. They got kind of that same milky bluish skin, so I could kind of see where this is coming from.
Yeah, a lot of deformed. If you look in the back, there's some classic alien stuff. There's some more images from this, but I felt they were a little spoilery, showing some of the designs of the new creatures off. They're just twists on the old ones that looks like they might be genetically altered by David/Michael Fassbender's character. So I'm actually a little more interested in it because of that, rather than just being like, these things come out of these pods every time and come get us. Like this robot has been using his crazy brain for science to learn more about them and make either worse ones or better ones. I don't know. We'll see more, but Alien Covenant is coming along, and it's inevitable at this point. Inevitable. So we've already mentioned one Benedict Cumberbatch property earlier. So now we're going to mention not another one. I guess not yet. Something else he's been related to. I'm going to swap these around. So Sherlock, the TV series, is returning. I believe it's January 1st, 2017.
Yeah. That makes sense. That's usually what they do. They drop it on the very first of the year. So that's par for the course with Sherlock.
Yes. So January 1st, 2017, we get Benedict Cumberbatch back in Sherlock. Possibly the last series. I think there's might be one more after that. I don't know if they said they were going to do 5 or not. But it's been 3 years since the last one ended.
Yeah, you never really know with BBC television. They're kind of... they don't really stick to a schedule. They kind of just do like hiatus deals, like, hey, hey, whenever you guys get a chance to come back together and make more, go ahead, we'll be here. So you never really know.
Not at all. So I'm really excited to see Sherlock come back. We'll probably talk about that more in January. I guess that gives us something in January to watch while we inevitably wait for Logan in March. And then lastly is actually Sherlock 3, the movie series, known for having Jude Law and Robert Downey Jr., is moving forward with a writer's room.
Oh, wow. I really wasn't expecting to hear that.
So some of the names in the writer's room I did know were Nicole Perlman, who's wrote the first treatment of Guardians of the Galaxy and co-wrote Captain Marvel, or maybe she wrote all of Captain Marvel. I don't know which one. Gary Whitta, who did Rogue One, and there are other names I didn't know or didn't care. But if they've got these two people in there for these big franchises, it sounds like they're trying to get serious about Sherlock, this third Sherlock movie, and where it could go.
Yeah, I have a really weird weird experience, I guess, with Sherlock in general, because I don't really know the timelines exactly, but I know for sure I watched that first Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock movie, back in the day when it came out, and I was pleasantly surprised. It was pretty fun. Robert Downey Jr. played a pretty good Sherlock. It was entertaining to kind of see his little way he analyzed the body before he beat it up and stuff. And Jude Law, he played a pretty good Watson, so I was on board with that. And then the sequel came out, and it was just really bloated. They kind of just turned it into an action movie, which without really any much intrigue at all. So it just kind of seemed like a blockbuster at that point in time, and that was about it. So I'm hoping the third one they come back around and try to make something intriguing, because they're competing with some of the best Sherlock material ever made, which is the Sherlock series with Cumberbatch. After I watched that, it's really hard to kind of look at this action movie that's being made with Sherlock and give it any sort of respect for the character, just because even though the Sherlock series on BBC is in present day, they're doing just such a better job, and they're making 3 movies a season basically, so there's more intrigue, there's just more to get sucked into your seat watching. So yeah, they really gotta step up to the plate and knock Sherlock 3 out of the park for me to really get excited.
Yeah, and they're also competing with the TV show on CBS called Elementary, which actually is gets on Rotten Tomatoes score 96%, 8 on IMDb. So it's up there in terms of quality.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So it's definitely we have the American Elementary, we have the British Sherlock, and then we have this movie series, which you're right, the second one, the first one was great, the second one, not so well. But again, I think, there's only so much Sherlock you can have, so I don't know if we'll see this one in the next year, probably 2 years, and will there be room for this movie 5 years after the sequel?
Yeah, respect the batch.
Yes, or something like that, why not? So that is the last bit of news. I wanted to start with Benedict and end with Benedict, but I got those out of order. But it doesn't matter, because we had a great show this week, and next week we're going to have 2 shows where we actually get to talk about Doctor Strange. I'm so excited. If people want to see your Benedict Cumberbatch comic you made a long time ago, where can they do that at?
Man, we're always struggling to find a way to plug these Twitter handles for each other, but you can follow me at Mike Royer Design on Twitter and Instagram, and you can read my webcomics at pickledcomics.com. Chris, if people want to go check out your Twitter handle to see maybe the other podcasts that you record, or maybe they want to know if you're doing other interesting things like going to murder mystery, Harry Potter, Wolverine, werewolf stuff. I don't know why I threw Wolverine in there. I think I was thinking werewolf.
Wolverine. That. You can do it on Twitter at Valdan, VALDAN. You can also listen to my other show, Filmside Chats, on iTunes or filmsidechats.com. And I also write on Comic UI. Recently on Twitter, I posted my comic book, my trade collection. I actually reorganized that this morning. So if you guys want to see what comic books I own and read and get some suggestions, you can check that out as well. I think that'd be cool to see if you guys were reading stuff we were doing. In the meantime, people are listening to the show right now, but maybe they want to share it with a friend or find more episodes. Mike, where can they do that at?
Well, they can always visit superheroslate.com. That is the best place to find all the places we host this little show and to check out the show notes so you can get the links for all these cool things that we're talking about. But if you want to subscribe, you can find us on iTunes, YouTube, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Tumblr. Subscribe and get us right in your email inbox, and you can like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. If you're a fan of the show, please consider leaving us a review wherever you listen to the show. That's really helpful. It helps us get some new ears and popping in those new earbuds, whether wireless or wired. We like them either way. And if you're a super fan of the show, just share the show with a friend, share the show with a buddy, and we'll be here every week to always give you the latest superhero entertainment.
That's right. And sometimes twice, like next week, because we have a Doctor Strange spoiler cast. I don't think I've mentioned that enough because I'm really excited to finally watch it and not have to look at all the other articles where people are like, hey, look, we have the movie already. Ha ha ha. So, I guess we'll catch you guys next week then. We'll see you then.
All right, cool. Goodbye, everybody.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.
I'm David S. Pumpkins. Any questions?
What?